Hello and welcome in right now here to another video update on the Cadence Weather Center here. Today is Friday, July 12th, 2024 here at 1:50 p.m. Right now paying attention to, just like what we were talking about yesterday with the area of interest that was out there in the Atlantic off the east coast of Florida, has really moved off to the north here and is now dumping heavy amounts of rain over parts of Virginia into North Carolina today. Later on tomorrow, it's going to continue to push off over here to possibly more of the northeast, including New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New Jersey. So I want to keep an eye out on that right now as all that rain is going to continue to push off. It seems like the GFS was a little bit more right. If we go back to the models, lots of rainfall is still continuing on. The European model was saying a little bit more off the land, but now is back more on land. So keeping an eye out on this very, very closely here, but still even that marginal risk is including several areas that could be seeing some type of rainfall possibly up to 2 inches of rain. So as you can see right now, the slight risk is our biggest area right now, of including 2 inches of rain. New York City, Philadelphia, Washington D.C., you guys are the ones that could be next in line for this heavy rainfall over the next couple of hours. We're going to see several inches of rain possibly head right up over here into the northeast. We want to keep an eye out on that. So please make sure if you are driving on an interstate, you are keeping an eye out on flooded roads. Please do not drive through flooded roads. Turn around, don't drown. Then we head into tomorrow, and we can clearly see the big area of the slight risk is a little bit more now down to a marginal risk here, but the slight risk over here continues. So even though the marginal risk is not as big, or the slight risk is not as big, but it still is going to pack a punch, especially if you are still in that marginal risk and you've already had that heavy rainfall in the past day or two. So Boston, tomorrow you'll be in this. Hartford, you'll be in it as well. Providence, you guys will be in this area where we could be paying attention to some heavy rainfall up to 2 inches in rain here. This is including several interstates, Interstate 91, 84, 95. Want to keep an eye out on that going into tomorrow with the flash flooding threat with heavy amounts of rain. So make sure, just like I just said in the last one, do turn around, do not drown. Please do not drive through flooded waters. So now moving into tomorrow here, what we could be expecting, even though we have all that rainfall off to the northeast here, just really rain, no storms or anything like that. This is our area of interest that we want to pay attention to for storms later on to tomorrow into the later afternoon parts. The slight risk including several parts of different states here. We have eastern Montana that is in the slight risk, same with majority of North Dakota, northern South Dakota, majority of Minnesota, and heading into Wisconsin. We could be seeing several severe storms here, possibly a big wind storm problem, and a couple tornadoes could form, but not a too big of a chance for tornadoes to form, but definitely still has that possibility out there. Then we have that marginal risk that we're going to continue to pay attention to very, very closely here, going through Michigan, parts of Wisconsin, as well Illinois, Indiana, stretching through Iowa, South Dakota, parts of Nebraska, and going into Montana. So even if you're in the marginal risk, you still have that chance of getting a possible tornado to form. So definitely want to keep an eye out on that anyways, because that is our biggest concern is, tornadoes, wind, hail. It could be a large damaging hail threat. We'll definitely have to see tomorrow when the Storm Prediction Center does update this map to see if they do up it to maybe an enhanced risk, or will it stay down to a slight risk. But so far, it seems like it could just stay down to a slight risk. So taking a look right now back here at the future radar, obviously our big area of storms is going to be more localized in this region right here, so keep an eye out on this area right here. This is heading into tomorrow, the next 11 hours here, 7 p.m. tonight, according to this model. So 7 p.m. tonight, we're going to start seeing, you can see some storms actually forming down here near southern Illinois and parts of Missouri. Then we keep an eye out on some of these storms right here, because this has the potential of getting pretty intense here as we go on throughout the night hours. Then we clearly see that some of the storms could get maybe a little bit severe, but not too severe until tomorrow, really, and that is when we start to see it. So 12 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, there's that one line of storm that's going to continue to push down to the southeast here, heading right into Minnesota, and that is kind of like a little bit of a derecho type looking storm here. So that definitely could have some big winds as it continues to push on through the northern part of Minnesota. But then we continue to look at this. Look at this. Over the next couple of hours, the overnight hours heading into tomorrow at night, 7 to 10 p.m., the storms start to really blow up here in parts of in parts of Minnesota, especially here going into parts of Wisconsin. So want to keep an eye out on these storms, especially even these ones as well, because these could hold their individual own supercells that could produce a tornado at any moment. Then it continues to move off through Wisconsin, and then you can see on July 14th, so whoopsies. On July 14th, we can see a clear shot here of some severe storms heading right into western Michigan, and those storms will continue to also push down to the southeast. So a little bit to be paying attention to as we're watching these storms continue. Then they start to die down on July 14th here, so on Saturday morning, or Sunday morning, I'm sorry, and then goes into central Michigan, starts dying down very quickly here, and then will not be as severe, but then could potentially become more scattered here. So it does die down for a little bit, but then over here in the next day, possibly could be seeing a little bit more of that scattered storm threat over here in possibly the Ohio Valley. So I want to keep an eye out on that. And then the question is what does this do? We'll have to take a look at this in the future on what that does. So taking a look here into tomorrow for the flash flooding threat, we can clearly see already heading into tonight at 2 a.m. we've seen several inches of rainfall according to the GFS here, possibly pushing up into possibly 2 to 3 inches of rain. Then we're going to continue to watch this as it continues to push off to the east. Majority of that rain still continues to stay off to the east of the United States, but still heavy amounts of rain will continue to push off into the northeast. Then we head over here to the European model. The European model saying maybe a little bit more off, a little bit more of the rain will stay off to the east here of the United States still, but still a pretty good agreement here by the GFS and the European model over here in the northeast, including several parts of majority of New Jersey over here, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, and Northern Carolina going to get the worst of this area of interest and all that tropical downpours that we want to keep an eye out on very, very closely, as this does have the potential for really just putting a lot of flash flooding, especially on these bigger roads and all of that. So please be making sure you are not driving through flooded waters. Then taking a look here at the temperatures, because as you can clearly see, we've seen a lot of temperatures where we just do not like at all. Right now today, you can see the average around the United States, 91.5 degrees right now, and you can clearly see all of this gray area is hot weather. So the only cooler parts of the United States is really in this region right over here. This is the only cool part of the United States here. You can even see over here in parts of Oregon and Washington reaching up over to 100 degrees here. You can see in the central states here, including Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kansas, going into South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana. That is including up to 100 degrees in weather. And then over here, down here in Arizona and Southern California, reaching up into the 110s, closer to the 120s in Arizona. So keeping an eye out on that. And then the southeast will continue to get very, very hot as well. It seems like we're having a little bit more of a cooler type of side down here in southern Florida, reaching 88, 89 degrees. But then you have back up here in the central and western part of Florida here, we can clearly see 98, 93, 94 degrees in these areas. But same thing with Texas, very, very hot there, but Oklahoma's reaching up to 100 degrees. So a lot to be paying attention to as we go on through today, heading into tomorrow. For Saturday, that's when that southern Florida starts to get that heat once again here. But still, look at this area for the heat. It's really just the whole United States is getting some major heat wave that we're going to continue to see over through the next couple of days here, and then possibly by day 5. So next Tuesday, we could be seeing a big cool down right over here in this region. So that would be great news. It doesn't seem like it cuts off, it goes any farther there, but some great news there for majority of that northern part of the United States, reaching into 70s. Very nice. But actually, look at this, day 7 going into next Thursday. It seems like we have a front coming down. So as the front comes down, we're going to see a lot more cooler temperatures here. So parts of Minnesota reaching up into the upper 70s here, Michigan and Wisconsin including around 77. And we're going to possibly see some areas even more higher up to the north here, Maine, New York, 72 degrees in there. But we'll have to take a look here in a couple days and talk about the heat on what we could expect down here for the southeast as this front will start to come down. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please make sure you leave a like and subscribe here for latest updates here on the weather around the United States. I'm going to do frequent updates here, but thank you so much for watching, and make sure to leave any questions down in the comments if you have any questions about any of the weather coming up, and can't wait to see you in the next video or the next live stream. Thank you, and bye-bye.